Planning to retire abroad sounds like a dream until you start reading about American tourists getting scammed in Bali, or that couple who lost their life savings to a fake real estate deal in Costa Rica. The retirement paradise you see on Instagram isn't always the full story. But here's the thing, some countries actually deliver on their promises, and others have gotten significantly better or worse in just the past year. In this video, we're breaking down the 12 best countries for retirement in 2025 and 2026. And we're not holding back on the controversies, the hidden costs, and the visa changes that could make or break your plans. Before we jump in, let's get real about what actually matters when you're choosing a retirement destination. Obviously, you need affordable healthcare because nobody wants to spend their golden years worried about a medical bill bankrupting them. Climate matters too, but it's not just about sunshine. You need to think about hurricane seasons, wildfire risks, and whether you can actually handle the humidity. Then there's safety, and we're talking real safety, not just what the tourism board wants you to believe. Crime rates, political stability, and how foreigners are actually treated day to day. And of course, money. Some of these countries work great if you've got a solid pension and savings. Others are only realistic if you're bringing in serious cash every month. We're covering the full range here, from budget-friendly to high-end. Number 12. Malaysia. Malaysia has quietly become one of Southeast Asia's smartest retirement picks, especially now that Thailand's been dealing with those border tensions with Cambodia. Sure, there's a ceasefire in place, and tourism's back to normal, but if you're planning to spend the next 20 or 30 years somewhere, that kind of uncertainty isn't exactly comforting. Malaysia, on the other hand, has been stable for decades. It's the second most developed country in Southeast Asia after Singapore, and the healthcare system rivals what you'd find in the US, except you're paying a fraction of the cost. The Malaysia My Second Home program is probably one of the most generous retirement visa setups you'll find anywhere. You get multiple entry status, you can buy property, you have access to local banking and healthcare, and here's the kicker. Foreign income, including your pension, isn't taxed. Only money you actually earn in Malaysia gets taxed, which for most retirees means you're paying basically nothing. Kuala Lumpur is where most expats land initially, but the island of Penang is where retirees really thrive. You've got this mix of urban convenience and beach life, plus a massive international community, so you're never feeling isolated. The cost of living runs about $2,500 to $3,000 a month for a couple living comfortably, which includes rent, food, entertainment, everything. Now, the downside, the heat and humidity are relentless if you're not used to tropical climates, and while English is widely spoken, you'll need to pick up some basic Malay to really integrate. Number 12. Malaysia. Malaysia has quietly become one of Southeast Asia's smartest retirement picks, especially now that Thailand's been dealing with those border tensions with Cambodia. Sure, there's a ceasefire in place, and tourism's back to normal, but if you're planning to spend the next 20 or 30 years somewhere, that kind of uncertainty isn't exactly comforting. Malaysia, on the other hand, has been stable for decades. It's the second most developed country in Southeast Asia after Singapore, and the healthcare system rivals what you'd find in the US, except you're paying a fraction of the cost. The Malaysia My Second Home program is probably one of the most generous retirement visa setups you'll find anywhere. You get multiple entry status, you can buy property, you have access to local banking and healthcare, and here's the kicker. Foreign income, including your pension, isn't taxed. Only money you actually earn in Malaysia gets taxed, which for most retirees means you're paying basically nothing. Kuala Lumpur is where most expats land initially, but the island of Penang is where retirees really thrive. You've got this mix of urban convenience and beach life, plus a massive international community, so you're never feeling isolated. The cost of living runs about $2,500 to $3,000 a month for a couple living comfortably, which includes rent, food, entertainment, everything. Now, the downside, the heat and humidity are relentless if you're not used to tropical climates, and while English is widely spoken, you'll need to pick up some basic Malay to really integrate into local life.
Number 11. Slovenia. Slovenia is one of those countries that flies completely under the radar, which honestly works in its favor. It's tucked in southern Central Europe, where the Alps meet the Mediterranean, and it's got this incredible mix of snow-capped mountains, emerald green lakes, and a tiny but beautiful coastline. Ljubljana, the capital, consistently ranks as one of Europe's most livable cities, and when you visit, you immediately understand why. It's clean, safe, walkable, and has this relaxed vibe that's hard to find in other European capitals. Here's where Slovenia gets interesting for retirees. You're within day trip distance of Italy and Croatia, so if you want those dramatic Adriatic coastal views, you just drive an hour or two. You've got access to all the modern services and conveniences of Western Europe, but the cost of living is significantly lower than neighboring countries. A couple can live well on about $2,800 to $3,200 a month, depending on whether you're in the capital or a smaller town. The catch is that Slovenia doesn't have a specific retirement visa for non-EU citizens. Americans and Canadians have to apply for a temporary residence permit, which gets renewed annually. After 5 years of continuous residence, you can apply for permanent residency. It's more paperwork than some other options, but the payoff is that you're living in one of Europe's safest, most beautiful countries, with easy access to the entire EU.
Number 10. Fiji. Fiji is criminally underrated as a retirement destination, probably because people assume it's just a honeymoon spot. But hear me out. This South Pacific nation is made up of over 300 islands, though only about 30 are inhabited. The two main islands hold 90% of the population, so you're not dealing with the isolation you might expect. What makes Fiji stand out is how genuinely easy it is for foreigners to settle there. English is an official language, so there's no language barrier. You can actually buy real estate on the islands, which isn't always the case in Pacific nations. And the retirement visa is shockingly straightforward. You need proof of stable annual income or pension, plus about $15,000 in savings, and you're approved for 5 years. That's it. No complicated point systems, no proving ties to the country, just show you can support yourself, and you're good. The crime rate is low, hurricanes are rare, despite what people assume about the South Pacific, and the cost of living is reasonable. A couple can retire comfortably about $2,000 to $2,500 a month. The main drawbacks are that imported goods are expensive because everything has to be shipped in, and healthcare is decent for routine stuff, but serious medical issues might require traveling to Australia or New Zealand. Still, if you've always dreamed of waking up to turquoise water and white sand beaches every day, Fiji actually delivers on that fantasy without completely draining your retirement fund.
Number 9. Mexico. Mexico has been a retirement hotspot for Americans and Canadians for decades, but the landscape has changed pretty dramatically in the last few years. The influx of retirees and remote workers has driven up costs in popular areas like San Miguel de Allende, Lake Chapala, Puerto Vallarta, and the entire Yucatan Peninsula. What used to be dirt cheap is now just moderately affordable. The visa requirements reflect this shift. For temporary residency, you're looking at proving a monthly income of about $4,200 or savings of around $69,000. If you want to skip straight to permanent residency, you need to show $7,000 a month in income or $280,000 in savings. Those aren't small numbers, and they've definitely priced out some people who would have retired there 10 years ago. That said, if you can meet those thresholds, Mexico still offers incredible value. A couple can live comfortably on $2,500 to $3,500 a month depending on the area. Healthcare is genuinely excellent, especially in larger cities, and it costs a fraction of what you'd pay in the US. You can get a full health insurance plan through IMSS, the Mexican Social Security system, for under $400 a year. The proximity to the US is another huge advantage. You can drive across the border if you need to, or catch a cheap flight back to see family. The downsides are real, though. Certain areas have legitimate safety concerns, and while the expat communities are thriving, some towns have essentially become American enclaves where you barely hear Spanish.
If you're retiring abroad to actually experience a different culture, you'll need to be intentional about where you settle and how you integrate.
Number 8. Italy. Retiring in Italy is the fantasy, right? Sipping espresso in a piazza, taking cooking classes in Tuscany, lazy afternoons on the Amalfi Coast. And the thing is, for people who can afford it, Italy actually lives up to the hype. Places like Lake Como, the Italian Riviera, and the island of Sardinia are genuinely stunning, and the lifestyle is exactly what you'd imagine. The south of Italy offers a completely different retirement experience than the north. The south is more laid back, you've got sunny beaches, and the cost of living is noticeably lower. Northern Italy is more developed, better infrastructure, higher prices, and a more cosmopolitan lifestyle. But regardless of where you land, you're getting incredible food, access to world-class art and history, and a culture that genuinely values enjoying life. The elective residency visa is how most non-EU retirees get into Italy. You need to show passive income of about 31,000 euros annually for an individual or 38,000 euros for a couple, which translates to roughly $34,000 and $43,000. You also need proof of accommodation and health insurance. After 5 years of continuous residence, you can apply for permanent residency. The cost of living varies wildly depending on where you are. A couple can live in southern Italy for about $2,800 to $3,200 a month, but in places like Milan or the northern lake regions, you're looking at $4,500 or more a month. The bureaucracy in Italy is legendary, and not in a good way. Everything takes longer than it should, and you'll need patience and probably a good lawyer or immigration consultant. But if Italy's been your dream, the hassle is worth it for most people who make the move. Number 7. Mauritius. Mauritius is this tiny island nation about 1,500 kilometers east of mainland Africa, and it's one of those places that sounds too good to be true until you actually look into it. English is an official language, so communication is easy. The island is incredibly diverse, with people from all over the world, which means building a social network as a retiree isn't the struggle it can be in some countries. Politically and economically, Mauritius is rock solid. It's one of the most stable countries in the region, and crime affecting foreigners is mostly limited to petty theft. Most retirees live in secure complexes where even that's rare. The biggest safety concern is actually the roads, not crime, which tells you a lot about how safe the island really is. The retirement visa is refreshingly simple. You need to transfer a minimum of $1,500 per month or $18,000 annually from outside Mauritius to a local bank account. That's it. You're not jumping through hoops, you're not proving ties to the country. Just show consistent income and you're approved. The lifestyle is what you'd expect from a tropical island. Beautiful beaches, warm weather year-round, fresh seafood, and a relaxed pace of life. The cost of living for a couple runs about $2,500 to $3,000 a month, which includes everything from housing to entertainment. The downsides are that it's far from pretty much everywhere, so visiting family back home means long flights, and imported goods are expensive. But if you're looking for a safe, English-speaking tropical paradise with a straightforward visa process, Mauritius checks all the boxes. Number 6. Greece. Greece has been aggressively courting foreign retirees, and they're doing it smart. They've introduced a 7% flat tax on foreign pensions, which is incredibly attractive if you're coming from a country with higher tax rates. While other countries are chasing tech entrepreneurs and big investors, Greece realized that wealthy pensioners pump money into the local economy without taking jobs or resources from locals. The country itself offers incredible diversity. You've got islands like Crete, Corfu, and Rhodes if you want that Mediterranean island life. Regions like Peloponnese, Epirus, and Thrace offer mountains, history, and a quieter pace. The climate is ideal for most retirees. Hot summers, mild winters, and plenty of sunshine. Healthcare quality is solid, especially in larger cities, and costs are reasonable compared to Northern Europe or the US. The financially independent person visa is the main pathway for retirees. You need to prove regular income of at least $3,500 per month and have basic medical insurance. The visa is renewable every 2 years and can eventually lead to permanent residency. There's also the Golden Visa program if you're willing to invest in real estate, government bonds, or other approved investments with a minimum threshold of $280,000. Cost of living varies, but a couple can live comfortably about $2,500 to $3,200 a month, depending on whether you're on an island or in a city like Athens or Saloniki. The bureaucracy can be frustrating, and some areas get absolutely slammed with tourists during peak season, which can make everyday life annoying. But the combination of low taxes, affordable living, great weather, and rich history makes Greece one of the smartest retirement choices in Europe right now.
Number 5. Portugal. Portugal keeps showing up on every best retirement destination list, and there's a reason it's not just hype. The climate is fantastic, especially in the Algarve, where you get over 300 days of sunshine a year. The cost of living is lower than most of Western Europe, healthcare is excellent and affordable, and the country has genuinely embraced foreign retirees. Popular spots range from the Algarve in the south, which is sunny and beach-focused, to the Silver Coast, which is quieter and more affordable. Then you've got cities like Lisbon and Porto, which offer urban energy and culture. Then you've got the Atlantic Islands, Madeira and the Azores, which are stunning and peaceful, but still well-connected with airports and modern services. About 9% of Portugal's population is foreign, so integrating as a newcomer is relatively easy. Each area has established international communities, so you're never completely isolated even if your Portuguese is rough. The D7 visa is the main route for retirees. You need to show a pension or passive income of at least $1,000 per month, which is the minimum requirement. But realistically, a couple needs about $3,800 a month to live comfortably, once you factor in housing, food, healthcare, and entertainment. EU citizens have it even easier. They just register locally and they're set. The downsides are that housing costs have shot up in popular areas, especially Lisbon and Porto, thanks to the influx of remote workers and retirees. Tourism can be overwhelming in peak season, and Portuguese bureaucracy, while not as bad as Italy's, still requires patience. But Portugal's combination of safety, healthcare quality, weather, and overall value for money is hard to beat in Europe.
Number 4. The Bahamas. The Bahamas is the retirement destination for people who have money and want to keep it. There's no income tax, no capital gains tax, no inheritance tax, no estate tax. If you've built up significant wealth and want to protect it while enjoying year-round sunshine and pristine beaches, the Bahamas is designed exactly for that. English is the official language, so there's zero language barrier. The islands are stunning, and you're close enough to the US that you can easily travel back and forth. Healthcare is decent for routine stuff, and for anything serious, Miami is a short flight away. Many retirees supplement local care with medical tourism to Florida or use private clinics on the islands. Residency is most commonly secured through real estate investment. If you buy property worth at least $500,000, you're eligible for a permanent residence permit. The process is straightforward. Submit proof of title, a health certificate, police clearance, and pay the application fee. There's also an annual homeowner's card that gets renewed yearly, or the economic permanent residence option for high net worth individuals. Here's the reality check. The Bahamas is expensive. Real estate and everyday goods run about 20 to 30% above U.S. prices. A couple will need at least $5,000 to $6,000 a month to live comfortably, and that's being conservative. But that higher cost comes with modern infrastructure, strong safety standards, and a level of exclusivity that keeps the islands from being overrun. If you can afford it, the Bahamas offers a lifestyle and tax situation that's genuinely hard to find anywhere else.
Number 3. Spain. Spain is Europe's retirement heavyweight. From the beaches of Andalusia to the green hills of the Basque Country and Galicia, the country offers incredible diversity. You can live on the Mediterranean coast, in a historic city like Seville or Granada, or in the mountains if that's your thing. The lifestyle is what pulls people in. World-class beaches, tapas culture, flamenco, golf in Andalusia, hiking along the Atlantic coast. It's all there. Every year, thousands of retirees over 55 register as residents in Spain, and the infrastructure for foreign retirees is well established. The non-lucrative visa is the main pathway. You need to prove about $2,800 in monthly passive income, have valid private health insurance, and a clean criminal record. You apply through Spanish consulates, and the visa gets renewed annually before moving to 2-year and then 5-year permits. After that, you can apply for permanent residency. The cost of living varies wildly depending on where you are. A couple can live in smaller towns or less touristy areas for about $2,800 to $3,200 a month. In hotspots like Barcelona, Madrid, or the Costa del Sol, you're looking at $4,000 or more. Housing prices have gone up significantly in popular areas, and the bureaucracy is real. Dealing with Spanish administrative processes requires patience and often professional help. But Spain's healthcare system is excellent. Both public and private options are affordable. Public transport is reliable, and the culture genuinely values community and enjoying life. The weather is fantastic, especially in the south, and you're centrally located in Europe, so travel is easy. For a lot of retirees, Spain is worth the bureaucratic hassle.
Number 2. Costa Rica. Costa Rica is probably the most well-known retirement destination in Central America, and that reputation is earned. Americans and Canadians have been retiring there for decades, and the infrastructure for expats is rock solid. You've got established communities, English is widely spoken in expat areas, and the country itself is beautiful. Tropical rainforests, volcanoes, beaches on both coasts. Real estate is a popular route to residency. You can buy property, and prices for a decent villa in a tropical setting start around $250,000 and can easily hit $600,000 depending on location and amenities. Owning property gives you a clear path to residency, but there's also the pensionado visa, which is specifically designed for retirees. You need a monthly income of at least $1,000 from a pension or retirement fund, and you transfer that money into a Costa Rican bank account and exchange it into local currency. The appeal is obvious. You're living in a tropical climate, there's an abundance of fresh produce, the healthcare is affordable and high quality, and the cost of living is generally lower than the US or Canada. A couple can live comfortably on about $2,500 to $3,500 a month, depending on lifestyle and location. The downsides are that certain areas have gotten expensive thanks to the influx of foreigners, and the infrastructure outside of major expat zones can be rough. Roads are bad in some areas, power outages happen, and the rainy season is genuinely intense. But about 95% of retirees who move to Costa Rica report being happy with their decision, which says a lot about how well the country delivers on its promises.
Number 1. Panama. Panama takes the top spot, and it's not even close. This small Central American country has been dominating retirement rankings for years, and organizations like Forbes and International Living consistently put it at the top. There are real, tangible reasons for that. First, the cost of living is low. A couple can live well on $2,000 to $2,500 a month, and that includes rents, food, entertainment, healthcare, everything. Healthcare quality is excellent, especially in Panama City, and it's a fraction of what you'd pay in the US. The country grants low property taxes, medications are generally tax-free, there's no double taxation on foreign-earned income, and retirees get access to tons of immigration discounts on everything from entertainment to dining to transportation. The pensionado visa is incredibly straightforward. You need a monthly income of at least $1,000 from a pension or retirement fund. The application requires a valid passport, police record certificate, proof of pension, and a health certificate. That's it. The approval process is faster than most countries, and once you're in, you have access to all those retiree discounts immediately. Panama offers geographic diversity too. You've got beaches on both the Pacific and Caribbean coasts, mountain towns like Boquete that are cooler and popular with expats, and Panama City if you want urban energy and modern infrastructure. The country uses the US dollar, so there's no currency exchange headache. And you're only a few hours by flight from the US, so visiting family or dealing with any business back home is easy. According to recent surveys, around 95% of retirees who move to Panama speak positively about their decision. That level of satisfaction is rare, and it reflects how well Panama has positioned itself as a retirement haven. The infrastructure is solid, the government actively supports foreign retirees, and the lifestyle offers a genuine mix of affordability, comfort, and adventure. So, there you have it, the 12 best countries for retirement in 2025 and 2026. Some of these places you've probably heard of, others might be completely new to you, but every single one offers something real for retirees who are willing to take the leap and live somewhere new.